I was convinced that a female con artist had fooled the courts, despite the fact that I said that she was faking it. So I talk about her in my book. I call her Darina. That's not her real name. So she was very different from most of the defendants I see. She was very well-to-do. She came from a very privileged background. She was actually quite high, she went quite high up in the corporate world. So she was an investment banker, became a multimillionaire. She was married to a CEO. She was very rich. So basically what happened is that she lost a lot of the money, partially through the divorce, and she helped her two co-defendants. So one was her own cousin, and one was a man that she had an affair with, who she used to work with. And they had these like carbon credit frauds. I don't really understand the ins and outs of the fraud, but they defrauded lots of people, businessmen, of millions of pounds. And her role was just to siphon the money. So she didn't actually directly commit any fraud face-to-face. She just laundered the money. So the reason that I was asked to assess her was because, tragically, she had a child who had a very rare form of leukemia during her trial at the Old Bailey. So they stayed her trial. So they froze her part of the trial, carried on trying her two co-defendants, both found guilty, both went to prison. And she managed to evade the first court case because she was in this situation where she had to take a kid to the hospital, etc. Fast forward a year, and her son recovers, but is still kind of teetering on the edge, so he could relapse at any moment. And she completely refused to engage in the court process. So she didn't answer any letters. She didn't take any phone calls from her solicitors. She just basically, just went la, 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 and tried to ignore the whole thing. And then she was assessed by quite a renowned forensic psychiatrist, one of my colleagues, and I believe that she pulled the wool over this man's eyes. So she was crying relentlessly in the assessment, saying that she was too upset to even consider or talk about the crimes that she allegedly committed. And he, I think, was totally duped. So he said that she was not fit to plead and that the charges should be dropped because she couldn't go through the court process. So the CPS, which is our prosecution in the UK, was suspicious, rightly so. So they instructed me to carry out this assessment of her, which I did. And I smelt that something was off right from the beginning. So there were just parts of the story didn't add up. So, for example, she was able to tell me, she was crying pretty much the entire time, but I didn't let her get away with it. So I was empathetic, offered her tissues, but I didn't stop the assessment like the other psychiatrist did. And she was able to tell me in detail after the tears loads of specifics about her earlier life, education, family. But when it came to talking about the alleged offences, she said that she was too upset and she couldn't remember. And so I made it really easy for her by asking...
Like super convenient, right? She just can't remember the elements of her crime, but she remembers all this other stuff in her life?
Absolutely, absolutely that. And I made it easy for her by giving her some options. So I said, okay, you can't tell me the ins and outs of what you did or you didn't do. What kind of offence was it? Couldn't answer the question. Was it fraud? Was it assault? Was it arson? Couldn't answer the question. Who were the co-defendants in your trial? And she said that she couldn't remember. So it didn't add up to me that even if she did have memory problems because she was depressed, which is possible, it didn't make sense to me that she couldn't even recall these really basic details. So basically I called bullshit. I mean, obviously I had to word my report very carefully because I can't overtly say that I think she's lying. But I said,
Your Honor, my diagnosis is this is bullshit.
Exactly, yeah. So it's tempting to say that. But,
yeah, I'm sure it is. But a courtroom where everybody has to wear a crazy wig doesn't sound like the place that they're going to let that slide. I think you get
the opposite of what you just said happened. So the judge actually overturned my evidence. So to my absolute surprise, despite what I said, I worded it very carefully. I said that, there's no psychiatric explanation of why she would have this kind of memory loss, which is my polite way of saying I don't believe her without directly saying it. And to my surprise, the judge actually went with the other experts' evidence and dropped the case. And I'm pretty sure that I don't know this for a fact, but I think because they had the two main co-defendants behind bars, I think they had, like, she was just a consolation prize. So I don't think they were that bothered about putting her through the trial process, but I think it's all bullshit.
Yeah, that's wild. So she got away with all that fraud. What the hell, man? Scary that somebody like that also has a child and is like, you can get away with anything. Just pretend you don't understand what's going on. I mean, that's not a role model that you want to have out in society. Well, yuck.